Make sure to stick around till the end. I've got some essential vocabulary and phrases along with the conversation. Now, dive into this conversation. Sophia, how do you manage to keep everything in balance? Your career is thriving, and yet you always seem so grounded and content.
It wasn't always like this, Emma. I used to be just like you, constantly chasing the next big thing at work, always striving for more. But I realized I was burning out.
Burning out? I feel like I'm on the edge of that right now. But how did you change things?
It started with acknowledging that success isn't just about work achievements. I had to redefine what success means to me. It's not just the next promotion or project, it's also about having time for myself and the people I care about.
That sounds ideal, but how do you even begin to shift that mindset when you're so used to pushing yourself all the time?
It's definitely a process. For me, it started with setting clear boundaries. I stopped checking work emails after a certain time, started saying no to projects that didn't align with my goals, and made sure I carved out time for hobbies and friends.
That's the thing. I feel like if I say no or don't give 110%, I'll fall behind. And everyone else is working just as hard, if not harder.
I get that, but you have to ask yourself, at what cost? If you're constantly on the go, you'll miss out on the moments that truly make life fulfilling. Plus, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Sustainable success comes from pacing yourself.
You're right. I've been so focused on the short term that I've neglected the bigger picture. But it's tough to change when the culture around you is all about more.
It is tough, but it's worth it. I started by making small changes. For example, I take regular breaks during the day to clear my head, and I make sure to have non-negotiable time in the evenings for things that relax me, like reading or cooking.
That sounds lovely. I can't remember the last time I read a book just for fun. But isn't it hard to stick to that schedule?
Sometimes, yes. But I remind myself that if I don't take care of my mental and emotional health, my work will eventually suffer too. It's about investing in yourself in the long run.
I need to start doing that. I'm always so tired, and I think it's because I'm not recharging at all. How do you handle the guilt, though? I feel guilty whenever I take time for myself.
Guilt is a big hurdle, but I remind myself that I deserve a balanced life. We're not machines. We need rest and joy outside of work. It helps to shift the perspective from seeing self-care as indulgence to seeing it as essential.
That's a good point. I guess if I'm happier and more rested, I'll be better at my job too.
Exactly. And you'll enjoy the journey more. Remember, you're in this for the long haul. Balance isn't about perfection, it's about finding what works for you.
Thanks, Sophia. This talk has given me a lot to think about. I'm going to start making some changes, even if they're small at first.
I'm glad to hear that. You deserve it, Emma. And don't forget, you're not alone in this. We can hold each other accountable.
I'd like that. Here's to finding balance and fulfillment together.
Cheers to that.
Vocabulary and phrases. Burning out. Experiencing extreme stress or exhaustion, often due to overwork. I realized I was burning out after working long hours without breaks. Redefine success. Changing one's perspective on what it means to be successful. I had to redefine success to include time for myself, not just work achievements. Marathon, not a sprint. Emphasizes the importance of pacing yourself for long-term success rather than rushing. Life is a marathon, not a sprint, so it's important to pace yourself. Guilt hurdle. The emotional barrier of feeling guilty when prioritizing oneself. I had to overcome the guilt hurdle when I started taking time for self-care.